So if I were choosing a pharmacy career in 2025, I would be thinking very, very differently than what I did when I graduated. Because at the time when I graduated, there were kind of like two careers and they were presented in a very narrow way. There was community, which would either be retail or independent pharmacy or hospital. And those were really the main two choices that everyone was going for back 20 years ago when I was graduating. So if I were graduating today, I'd be thinking very differently than what I did when I was graduating. And I just really wish someone would have given me this advice if I was graduating today. So that's why I'm here giving the advice to you. So my name is Susie. I'm a pharmacist and I help a lot of pharmacists find non-traditional work. My background is I've worked in pharma. I've worked in academia. I have academic appointment right now at Rutgers University. And I'm also a preceptor for University of Illinois at Chicago. And I am also a preceptor for St. John's University in New York, and Rutgers University as well in New Jersey. So again, some people back when I graduated wanted to do a residency like myself, which I did choose to do, especially if you wanted to pursue a more clinical route and you wanted to be more clinical. And that's what I did. But people looked at me strange. They're like, really? You want to do a residency? Why would you want to do a residency? That's just a waste of time, especially when people were getting these big sign-on bonuses from retail chains. So it was more looked upon like, really, are you kind of wasting your time? But I knew that I wanted to do something extra. So if you watch a lot of the big pharmacy career videos on YouTube, a lot of them show pharmacy as patient care in the traditional sense, like hospital, community, clinical settings, which are really important. They're very fulfilling and they're amazing for a lot of people. But what the videos usually don't show is a full picture of what a PharmD can do. Because the profession has expanded so much, there's so many other options outside of this that not everyone's thinking about or talking about. So because the profession has expanded, healthcare's evolved, AI, there's automation, there's prescribing laws, telehealth, the whole system is kind of shifting. And if I were choosing a career today, these are the things that I would look for in a pharmacy career in 2025 and beyond. So first, I would look for a role where I would have to use my clinical brain every single day. We learn so much in school, and I believe that we can utilize a lot of this knowledge. There were so many times I was taking therapeutics classes and medicinal chemistry classes, and I'm like, am I going to use this in this career? And I really want to use all this information that I have in my head. So I think that utilizing it and being able to utilize it and looking for a career where we can is really, really important. The second thing is about work-life balance. I think that work-life balance is really important and it's not stress. That's the badge of honor. So thinking about work-life balance in the future. So when you're graduating and say you're 24, 25, 27 years old, you might be thinking very differently than when you're 37 years old and you have 2 young children at home, or 3 young children, or you have a spouse, and all of a sudden your life is different. Do you want to work on weekends? Do you want to work in the evening? Do you want to work on holidays? Do you want to be scheduled for every Thanksgiving, or do you want to be home on Thanksgiving? These are really important questions to ask yourself when choosing the career, because a lot of times what you start at might set you up as kind of a trajectory for along the pharmacy path. It doesn't mean you have to stay in it, but you kind of want to think about the future as well, and that really knowing that stress is not the ultimate badge of honor and that you can have work-life balance, that it is important to have it. The next thing I would look for is future proofing. So picking a career that you don't have to worry if a kiosk or AI, like a script checker, will replace me. So I'd really try to find something where I know I can't be replaced by AI. Next would be growth potential, both professionally and financially. For me, that would be very important. I'd want to grow within my career, grow as a professional, both professionally, and make sure my salary increases as well so that I'm not stuck at the same salary my entire career either. I think people shy away from talking about salary, but it is something important and that you will think about. Whether you have student loans, you don't have student loans, you're still going to be thinking about your salary. Another thing I would look for is a place where I'm valued as a doctor of pharmacy, and not just as a dispenser or somebody who is just there, okay, just talk to the pharmacist. I mean, I really would like to have a place where I'm valued and my thoughts and my opinions and all of the knowledge I have are valued. So this is where a lot of pharmacists and even pharmacy students are shocked. There are pharmacy paths that include all of those things that exist today. And one of the strongest examples is the medical science liaison role. Well, here's the thing you won't hear in most traditional pharmacy career videos. When I was in school, I never even heard the term medical affairs. It didn't even exist. I mean, it did exist, but we weren't really talking about it. And I didn't know what a medical science liaison was. No one came in to talk to us in lecture halls. There was no day in the life of a medical science liaison career fair or video that I could watch like this. But the MSL one is really dynamic, it's respected, it's science-based, and it's really easy that a pharmacist can move into it right upon, when they're early on in their career. And I worked as an MSL in my past, and you communicate clinical evidence. You build real scientific relationships with key physicians, key opinion leaders. I loved it. It was one of my most rewarding careers that I have done. You stay in the research, you stay in the innovation, and it's really important because you get paid in a way that also reflects your expertise and your training. And one of the things that I want to point out is that most people who break into an MSL role do not have prior pharma experience. I didn't at the time. I was able to break in, and I actually wrote a book about you might not just need connections, you also need strategies and you need positioning. That's why I documented my entire journey. The resume, the language, all of that you need there, the networking scripts, how to prepare for interviews, what the role looks like. And I put it into my book, The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Medical Science Liaison. And I'll put the link down. It's not a theory. It's not fluff. It is a resource that I wish I had when I was looking at my future. And I get so many questions. I've had thousands of pharmacy students ask me, or pharmacists ask me, I don't want to be doing this forever. How can I get into pharma? How can I utilize all this knowledge? So if you're here, you're probably curious about your career. You're probably thinking that you want more options, and you're trying to figure out what is something different. You're in the right place. Your degree is very powerful. You just need to know how to use your degree. If you comment below, I can send you a direct link to the book, or I can just give you more tips. Ask me questions down below. What pharmacy career paths are you trying to think of right now? I'll read every comment, and I want to help point you in the right direction. I will discuss how I transitioned to becoming an MSL and what happened in my story in another video. But if you have other questions or comments, please drop them below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Follow me for more. Thank you.